r/pettyrevenge. My roommate stole my thesis, so I got him expelled. My roommate stole my thesis, so I got him expelled. I'm staring at my laptop screen at 2:47 a.m., and I think I'm about to throw up. The email from Dr. Morrison, my thesis advisor, is still open in front of me. Subject line, urgent, academic integrity concern. The words blur together as I read it for the 5th time, but the message is crystal clear. I'm being accused of plagiarizing my own fucking research. Let me back up. 3 hours ago, I was walking back to my dorm after a late night in the lab, actually feeling good for once. I just finished running the final statistical analysis for my thesis on predictive algorithms in urban planning. 2 years of work, thousands of hours, and it was finally coming together. I was planning to submit the draft to Dr. Morrison next week. I should mention my roommate, Derek. We're both PhD candidates in the same program, which seemed convenient when we got assigned together as first years. Derek's charming in that effortless way that makes professors remember his name and gets him invited to department mixers. Me. I'm the one who actually does the work. So I'm walking back, probably grinning like an idiot, when I see Derek's light still on. The guy never stays up past 11 p.m., he's religious about his optimal sleep schedule for cognitive performance, or whatever. I figure I'll poke my head in, maybe share some of my good news. That's when I hear him on the phone. Yeah, Dr. Morrison, I know it's late, but I wanted to get this to you tonight. I've been working around the clock to finish it. His voice has that fake modest tone he uses when he wants to impress faculty. The research on urban planning algorithms, I think you're going to be really excited about the applications. I freeze in the hallway. Urban planning algorithms. That's my research. My exact research. Oh, absolutely, it's all original work. Took me nearly 2 years to develop the methodology. The words hit me like ice water. I fumble for my phone and check my email. Nothing from Derek. No heads up, no collaboration request, no, hey, I'm working on something similar. I sprint to my room and boot up my laptop. My hands are shaking as I log into the department portal. There it is, submitted 47 minutes ago, Predictive Algorithm Applications in Urban Planning Infrastructure, by Derek Chen. I download it with my heart hammering against my ribs. Page 1, that's my introduction, almost word for word. Page 12, that's my methodology section. Page 34, those are my fucking graphs. My data that I spent 8 months collecting from city planning departments across 3 states. He didn't even change the font. I'm sitting there in complete shock when the email from Dr. Morrison hits my inbox. Apparently Derek thought it would be smart to get ahead of things. He told our advisor that he was concerned about my recent behavior, that I'd been asking suspicious questions about his research, that he was worried I might try to submit work similar to his. The manipulation is breathtaking. He stole everything, my data, my analysis, my conclusions, my future, and somehow made it look like I'm the thief. Dr. Morrison wants to meet with both of us tomorrow at 10 a.m. The email mentions serious concerns about academic integrity and potential disciplinary action. I close the laptop and stare at the wall we share. I can hear Derek on the other side, probably sleeping peacefully after destroying my entire academic career. But here's the thing Derek doesn't know, I keep backups of everything. And I mean everything. I don't sleep. Instead, I spend the next 6 hours methodically going through every file on my computer, every backup drive, every cloud folder. What I find makes my blood boil and my hopes soar in equal measure. I have everything. Draft 1 from 18 months ago with the original algorithm framework. Email chains with city planning departments requesting datasets. Screenshots of my statistical software showing analysis runs from 8 months ago. Hell, I even have voice memos from last summer where I'm walking through downtown Portland, literally talking through my methodology while stuck in traffic. But as the sun comes up and my meeting with Dr. Morrison approaches, reality starts setting in. Derek isn't stupid, manipulative, sure, but not stupid. He spent 2 years watching me work, asking seemingly innocent questions about my research methods, offering to proofread sections when I was stressed. I gave him access to everything because I thought we were friends. The worst part? He's better at this game than I am. Derek knows how to work a room, how to make professors feel like they're talking to a future colleague instead of just another desperate grad student. When I try to explain complex concepts, I get lost in technical details. When Derek does it, he somehow makes everyone feel smarter for listening. At 9:45 a.m., I'm standing outside Dr. Morrison's office with a flash drive containing 2 years of evidence and hands that won't stop shaking. Derek shows up at 9:57, looking perfectly composed in his pressed khakis and department polo. He gives me this concerned smile, like he's worried about my well-being. Hey man, you look rough. Everything okay? His voice is so sincere I almost believe he actually cares. We'll see, I manage. Dr. Morrison calls us in. Her office feels smaller with 3 people, and I end up in the chair that wobbles. Derek, naturally, gets the good one. Gentlemen, we have a serious situation. Dr. Morrison pulls up Derek's submission on her monitor. Derek, your research is impressive, but there are some concerns about originality that we need to address. My heart jumps. Maybe she already figured it out. Maybe. Specifically, she continues, I've noticed some similarities to preliminary work that was discussed in our department seminars last year. I want to make sure we're not dealing with any unconscious appropriation of ideas. Derek nods thoughtfully, like he's considering this possibility for the first time. I absolutely understand the concern, Dr. Morrison. Academic integrity is paramount. But I can assure you this is entirely my own work. He glances at me with what looks like sympathy. Though I have to say, I'm worried about the timing here. What do you mean? Dr. Morrison asks. Well. Derek hesitates, like he really doesn't want to say what comes next. I hate to bring this up, but over the past few months, I've noticed some unusual behavior from my roommate here. Questions about my research methods, requests to see my data collection processes. Yesterday, he seemed particularly interested in when I was planning to submit. I feel my face getting hot. That's not. Derek holds up a hand. I'm not making accusations. I just think the timing is suspicious. And honestly, I'm concerned about him. He's been under a lot of pressure lately, staying up all night, seeming really stressed about his progress. The bastard is painting me as unstable. Every late night I spent working on MY research, every moment of stress from trying to perfect MY analysis, he's twisting it into evidence that I'm some kind of academic wannabe who cracked under pressure. Dr. Morrison looks between us, then at me specifically. Do you have something you'd like to share about your current research? I clutch the flash drive in my pocket. This is it. Time to blow Derek's whole world apart. Actually, yes. I think you're going to find this very interesting. I pull out the flash drive, and Derek's eyes flick to it for just a split second. If I hadn't been watching for his reaction, would have missed it completely. But there it is, the tiniest crack in his perfect composure. Dr. Morrison, I need to show you something important, I say, surprised by how steady my voice sounds. But first, I want Derek to walk us through his research timeline. You know, for clarity. Derek's smile doesn't waver, but I catch him swallowing hard. Of course. Happy to provide any details you need. Dr. Morrison nods approvingly. That's a good idea. Derek, why don't you start with when you first conceived this research direction? Well, the initial concept came to me about 18 months ago, Derek begins smoothly. I was reading some papers on urban development patterns and realized there was a gap in predictive modeling applications. I almost laugh. 18 months ago, Derek was still trying to figure out his dissertation topic. I remember because he kept complaining about feeling behind compared to other students in our cohort. And the data collection process? Dr. Morrison prompts. That was the most challenging part, Derek says, warming to his story. I spent months reaching out to city planning departments, building relationships with municipal engineers. The Portland Department of Transportation was particularly helpful. They gave me access to some really comprehensive traffic flow data. My blood pressure spikes. I'm the one who spent 3 weeks calling the Portland DOT daily until finally getting through to Margaret Chen in their planning division. Derek never even knew Margaret's name until I mentioned her at dinner one night. Interesting approach, Dr. Morrison says. And your methodology for the algorithm development? Derek launches into an explanation of MY methodology, using MY terminology, describing MY process with the confidence of someone who actually lived through the late nights of trial and error. He's good at this, weaving in just enough technical detail to sound credible without getting bogged down in specifics he can't defend. But then Dr. Morrison asks about the statistical software configuration, and Derek hesitates for just a moment too long. I used the standard SPSS package initially, he says, but found I needed something more robust for the regression analysis. Wrong answer. I never used SPSS for this project. I used her exclusively because SPSS couldn't handle the data visualization I needed. It's a small detail, but it's the kind of thing only someone who actually did the work would know. I lean forward slightly. Which version of R did you end up using? I know the latest update has some compatibility issues with certain packages. Derek's eyes dart between me and Dr. Morrison. The standard version. I didn't have any major compatibility problems. Another lie. The geospatial analysis package I used required a specific older version of R because of known conflicts with the current release. I'd spent hours troubleshooting that exact issue. Dr. Morrison is taking notes now, her expression becoming more serious. Derek, I have to ask, did you collaborate with anyone on this research? Any informal discussions, shared resources, anything like that? No, this was entirely independent work, Derek says firmly. I mean, obviously I discussed general concepts with classmates and colleagues, but the research itself was completely my own. I feel a surge of rage so pure it's almost clarifying. He's sitting 3 feet away from the person whose work he stole, lying directly to our advisor's face about independent work. That's interesting, I say quietly, plugging the flash drive into Dr. Morrison's computer. Because I have some files here that might complicate that narrative. Derek's facade finally cracks. Look, I don't know what kind of game you're playing here, but... No games, I interrupt. Just evidence. The first file loads on Dr. Morrison's screen, my original research proposal, timestamped 14 months ago, with my name in the metadata and my student ID embedded in the document properties. Derek goes very, very quiet. The silence in Dr. Morrison's office is deafening. Derek stares at my research proposal on the screen like it's a bomb that just went off in his hands. I can practically see the wheels turning in his head, looking for an escape route. This is... Dr. Morrison scrolls through the document, checking timestamps and metadata. This predates Derek's submission by over a year. There's more, I say, opening the next file. Here's my initial data collection spreadsheet. You can see the Portland DOT contact information, including Margaret Chen's direct number and email. I glance at Derek. Margaret's great, by the way. Really helpful once you get past her assistant. Though I guess you wouldn't know about that part. Derek's face has gone pale, but he's not backing down. I don't understand what you're trying to prove here. Having some preliminary notes doesn't mean. Preliminary notes. I open another folder. Let's see, here are 847 data points collected over 6 months, organized by district and cross-referenced with census data. Here's my correspondence with the Portland Planning Office. Here's my IRB approval for human subjects research, dated 13 months ago. Dr. Morrison leans forward, studying the screen more intently. Derek, I'm going to need you to explain how your independent research has such significant overlap with timestamped files from your roommate's computer. Derek's mouth opens and closes like he's drowning. Then something shifts in his expression, a hardening, like he's made a decision. You know what? I think we need to step back here. Yes, there was collaboration on this project. But I think there's some confusion about who contributed what. My stomach drops. He's not going to admit defeat. He's doubling down. What I mean is, Derek continues, his confidence returning, we started working together months ago. Informally at first, just bouncing ideas around. But my roommate here was struggling with his own research direction, so I offered to let him help with data collection for my project. The audacity of this lie takes my breath away. That's not. I felt bad for him, Derek talks over me, addressing Dr. Morrison directly. He was really behind on his dissertation progress, stressed out, not sleeping. So when he asked if he could help with some of the grunt work, data entry, formatting, that kind of thing, I said sure. I thought I was being a good friend. Dr. Morrison looks between us, her expression unreadable. Are you saying this was a collaborative effort? Not exactly, Derek says carefully. I mean, he helped with some of the preliminary work, but the conceptual framework, the methodology, the analysis, that was all mine. I can see how having access to my files might have made him feel more involved than he actually was. I'm staring at him in disbelief. He's not just stealing my work anymore, he's trying to gaslight me in real time, in front of our advisor. Making me sound like some pathetic wannabe who helped with data entry and convinced himself he deserved credit. Show her the algorithm, I say quietly. What? The predictive algorithm. The core of the entire thesis. Show Dr. Morrison how it works. Derek shifts in his chair. I don't think we need to get into technical details right now. The important thing is clearing up this misunderstanding about collaboration. No, I think that's exactly what we need to do. I open another file, the R script containing hundreds of lines of code, complete with my commentary and debugging notes. Dr. Morrison, this is the actual algorithm that makes the research work. Every line is commented with my thoughts, my problem-solving process, even my frustrations when I couldn't get the regression model to converge. I scroll to a particularly complex section. Derek, why don't you walk us through this part? Since it's your work, you should be able to explain why you chose a random forest approach over linear regression for the traffic pattern prediction. Derek stares at the screen like it's written in hieroglyphics. Which, for him, it might as well be. I think we should schedule a follow-up meeting, he says desperately. When we can both prepare proper documentation of our contributions. Dr. Morrison saves the files to her desktop. I think that's exactly what we're going to do. Dr. Morrison closes my files and leans back in her chair, her expression grave. I'm going to need both of you to leave your current research materials with me. No one touches anything until we sort this out. That's not fair, Derek protests. You're basically shutting down months of my work based on some files that could have been created retroactively. Retroactively? I can't keep the incredulity out of my voice. You think I time traveled to create emails from 13 months ago? Timestamps can be manipulated, Derek says, and I realize he's thought about this. Anyone with basic computer skills knows that. Dr. Morrison holds up a hand. Which is exactly why I'm involving the Academic Integrity Committee. This is beyond what I can resolve informally. She pulls out a form from her desk drawer. I'm filing a formal complaint. There will be a full investigation. My heart sinks. A formal investigation means everything gets put on hold, my defense timeline, my graduation, potentially my job prospects. Even if I'm vindicated, this could delay my degree by a full semester. Dr. Morrison, I start, surely we can. I'm sorry, but this is the only way to handle accusations this serious. Derek, you're suspended from presenting your defense pending the investigation. And unfortunately, that means neither of you can continue with your current research until this is resolved. Derek's face goes through several emotions, panic, anger, then something calculating. I want to file a counter-complaint. Excuse me. Dr. Morrison and I say simultaneously. If we're doing this officially, then I want it on record that my roommate had access to my work, my notes, my computer. For all I know, he's been planning this for months, copying my files, backdating them somehow, building a case to steal credit for my research. The room starts spinning. He's not just defending himself anymore, he's going on the offensive. That's insane. Why would I sabotage my own academic career? Because you were failing, Derek says, his voice gaining confidence. Your advisor dropped you last semester. You've been scrambling to find a new project ever since. Face it, you saw an opportunity and you took it. Dr. Morrison's eyebrows rise. Is it true that Dr. Hendricks is no longer your advisor? My face burns. That was a mutual decision. We had different visions for my research direction. It's technically true, but it sounds weak even to me. So you've been essentially without oversight for months, Derek continues. Living in the same apartment as someone working on groundbreaking research, with access to his files, his contacts, his data. Dr. Morrison, who's more likely to be the plagiarist here, someone with an established research trajectory, or someone who was academically adrift until very recently. I want to scream. He's taking my most vulnerable moments, the frustration with my previous advisor, the uncertainty about my research direction, the late-night anxiety attacks about my future, and weaponizing them against me. Both complaints will be investigated, Dr. Morrison says firmly. I'm recommending that you two find alternative living arrangements immediately. This level of conflict makes cohabitation inappropriate. I can't afford another apartment, I say quietly. The lease isn't up until May. Derek shrugs. I'm happy to stay. I was there first. Of course he was. Another advantage in his column, stability, continuity, the appearance of someone with nothing to hide. Meanwhile, I'll be scrambling for a sublease, looking desperate and guilty. We'll figure out the logistics later, Dr. Morrison says. Right now, I need you both to clear out of the lab space until further notice. All materials stay locked in my office. As we file out, Derek leans close to my ear. You should have just walked away when you had the chance. The next few days blur together in a haze of panic and desperate strategizing. I'm sleeping on my friend Marcus's couch because there's no way I'm spending another night under the same roof as Derek. Every morning I wake up with this crushing weight on my chest, remembering all over again that my entire future is hanging by a thread. The Academic Integrity Committee moves slower than continental drift. Their first available hearing date. 3 weeks away. 3 weeks of my life in limbo while Derek gets to play the victim and I look like the desperate roommate who couldn't handle his own failure. I spend hours at the library, printing out every piece of evidence I can think of. Email threads, file metadata, even my browser history showing months of research into Portland city planning. But Derek's accusation keeps echoing in my head, timestamps can be manipulated. How do you prove a negative? How do you prove you didn't fake evidence? On Thursday, I get an email that makes my blood run cold. Asterisk, hi. I'm Jake Chen from the Portland City Planning Office. Derek mentioned you might have some follow-up questions about the traffic data we provided for his research project. Happy to help however I can. The work you guys are doing sounds fascinating. Asterisk. I stare at the screen, reading the message over and over. Derek is contacting MY sources, claiming MY research as his own. He's not just stealing the past, he's stealing my future, my professional relationships, my credibility. I call Jake immediately. Oh hey, he says when I identify myself. Derek said you were his research partner. Great project you guys have going. Actually, there's been a misunderstanding, I start carefully. I'm the primary researcher on this project. Derek is my roommate, but he's not involved in the Portland transportation study. Silence on the other end. Then, that's weird. He seemed to know all the details. Asked some pretty sophisticated questions about the data methodology. My heart sinks. Of course Derek sounded sophisticated, he's been living with my research for months, listening to my phone calls, reading my notes. He could probably fake his way through a conversation with anyone at this point. Look, Jake continues, I don't want to get in the middle of some academic dispute. Maybe you guys should sort this out amongst yourselves before we continue our collaboration. Another door closing. Another relationship poisoned. I'm walking across campus afterward, feeling like the world's biggest fraud, when I spot Dr. Reyes from the computer science department. She's the one who helped me debug my algorithm last fall, spent hours walking me through machine learning approaches. If anyone can verify my technical work, it's her. Dr. Reyes. I call out, jogging to catch up. She turns, and her expression is cold. Disappointed. I have to say, I'm surprised, she says without preamble. When Derek came by yesterday asking about algorithm optimization, he mentioned there was some confusion about authorship on your project. I had no idea there was a collaboration. My stomach drops. He came to see you. He's quite impressive, actually. Much more advanced than I realized. We spent 2 hours discussing improvements to the predictive model. She shakes her head. I just wish you'd been more transparent about having a co-author when you first came to me for help. Dr. Reyes, that's not, Derek isn't, but she's already walking away, clearly uncomfortable with the whole situation. This is Derek's real strategy. He's not just defending himself, he's systematically poisoning every relationship I have in the department, reaching out to every contact, every collaborator, every person who might vouch for me. Making himself known, establishing credibility, getting his version of events out first. By the time I reach the hearing, half the department will think Derek is the brilliant researcher and I'm the jealous roommate making false accusations. I need help. Real help. Because Derek is playing a game I didn't even know existed. That evening, I'm hunched over Marcus's laptop in his living room, desperately trying to figure out my next move, when my phone buzzes. It's an email from someone I don't recognize, Sarah Kim from the Graduate Student Association. Asterisk, hi, I heard through the grapevine that you're dealing with some academic integrity issues. I might have some information that could help. Can we meet tomorrow? Coffee shop on 5th Street, 2 p.m. Come alone. Asterisk. My first instinct is paranoia. What if this is Derek trying to set me up somehow? But I'm drowning here, and Sarah's name sounds vaguely familiar. I think she was the GSA representative who spoke at orientation about student rights. I arrive at the coffee shop 15 minutes early, scanning every face, jumping at shadows. Sarah turns out to be a third-year PhD in psychology, small, serious-looking, with the kind of intense energy that suggests she doesn't sleep much. You look exactly how I expected, she says, sliding into the booth across from me. Like someone who's been hit by a truck. Thanks. Really boosting my confidence here. She doesn't smile. Derek Patterson is your roommate, right? Computer science PhD, tall guy, very charming. My pulse quickens. You know him. I know of him. That's why I reached out. Sarah pulls out a tablet and opens it to what looks like a private forum. There's a network of graduate students who share information about problematic individuals in various departments. Derek's name has come up before. The screen shows a thread titled Academic Predators, Warning Signs. Derek's name appears in several comments, though most details are vague, whispers about collaboration gone wrong, credit not shared appropriately, junior researchers getting burned. This is all anonymous gossip, I point out, though my heart is racing. Mostly, yes. But last month I was contacted by someone who wanted to share a more detailed experience. She was willing to meet with you if this day ever came. Sarah slides a business card across the table. Emma Rodriguez, graduated last spring. She was in Derek's cohort. I stare at the card. What happened to her? Same thing that's happening to you, from what I can tell. Joint project that became his project. She tried to fight it but didn't have enough evidence. Ended up switching advisors, delayed her graduation by a year. Sarah's expression darkens. She kept detailed records though. And she's been waiting for Derek to do this to someone else. The coffee shop suddenly feels too warm, too bright. Other people know about this. The problem with academic theft is that it's usually one person's word against another's. Derek's smart, he picks isolated targets, people without strong support networks, situations where the evidence can be muddied. Sarah closes the tablet. But Emma thinks if multiple people come forward, show a pattern of behavior. The committee would have to take it seriously. Maybe. Or maybe they'll decide you're all just disgruntled students making coordinated false accusations. Sarah shrugs. Academia protects its golden boys. Derek's got good grades, strong relationships with faculty, research that brings in grant money. You're taking a huge risk. I think about Jake Chen, about Dr. Reyes, about how easily Derek charmed them both. How many other people has he contacted? How many bridges has he already burned for me? What's Emma willing to do? Testify at your hearing, if you want. Share her documentation. But you need to understand, this will get ugly. Derek won't just be fighting for his academic career anymore. He'll be fighting for his reputation, his future, everything. Sarah leans forward. Are you prepared for that kind of war? I think about Derek whispering in my ear, "You should have just walked away when you had the chance." Yeah, I say, surprising myself with how steady my voice sounds. I think I am. The meeting with Emma Rodriguez happens 2 days later at a quiet restaurant off campus. She's older than I expected, maybe late 20s, with the kind of tired eyes that suggest she's seen too much bullshit for her age. When she shakes my hand, her grip is firm but her smile doesn't reach her eyes. "Sarah filled me in on the basics," she says once we're seated in a corner booth. "Derek stole your thesis research." "All of it. Months of work." I pull out my phone, showing her some of the evidence I've compiled. "But he's claiming I'm the one who plagiarized from him." Emma nods grimly. Classic Derek move. Make the victim look like the aggressor. She opens her laptop and turns it toward me. "This is what he did to me." The screen shows a detailed timeline spanning 8 months. Email exchanges, meeting notes, file sharing records, all documenting a collaborative project on social media addiction that gradually became Derek's solo work. The pattern is sickeningly familiar, the casual suggestions that became demands, the way Derek slowly excluded Emma from meetings with their advisor, the final betrayal when he submitted their joint research under his name only. Jesus, I breathe. This is exactly what happened to me. The worst part. Emma's voice is bitter. He got away with it. The committee decided it was a miscommunication about authorship expectations. Derek got his thesis approved. I had to start over from scratch. I scrolled through her documentation, my stomach churning. But you have proof here. Timestamps, communications. Derek's good at creating plausible deniability. He never explicitly said he was stealing my work. It was all suggestions, gradual shifts, making me doubt my own memory. Emma closes the laptop. By the time I realized what was happening, he'd already poisoned the well with our advisor. Dr. Martinez believed him. Derek had been building that relationship for months. Coffee meetings, extra office hours, positioning himself as the brilliant protege while I was just the teammate along for the ride. Emma's jaw tightens. When push came to shove, Martinez backed his golden boy. My phone buzzes with a text message. It's from Dr. Hendricks. *, Derek mentioned you might be struggling with the transition to graduate-level research. Happy to discuss strategies for developing original work. My office tomorrow, 3 p.m. *. I show Emma the message, and her face goes pale. He's doing it again. Positioning you as the weak student who needs guidance while he's the successful one offering to help. Hendricks is on the academic integrity committee, I realize. If Derek can convince him I'm incompetent. The hearing becomes a formality. Emma finishes. They'll already have made up their minds. I stare at the message, feeling trapped. If I don't go to the meeting, I look uncooperative. If I do go, Derek gets another chance to control the narrative with a committee member. There's something else, Emma says quietly. Something I didn't tell Sarah because I wasn't sure if it was relevant. She pulls up another file on her laptop. After Derek screwed me over, I did some digging into his background. Called a friend at his undergraduate school. The file contains what looks like a disciplinary report from Derek's senior year. Academic dishonesty. Suspected collaboration violations on multiple assignments. The charges were ultimately dismissed due to insufficient evidence, but the pattern was there. He's done this before, I whisper. Probably multiple times. But Derek's smart, he learns from his mistakes, gets better at covering his tracks. Emma meets my eyes. The question is, are you willing to do what it takes to stop him? What do you mean? Emma's smile is sharp, predatory. Derek thinks he's the only one who can play dirty. But he's never faced someone who's already lost everything and has nothing left to lose. She closes the laptop with a decisive snap. I've got some ideas. But they require getting our hands very, very dirty. The restaurant suddenly feels too quiet, too intimate. Like we're conspirators planning something that could destroy us both. Tell me, I say. Emma leans forward, lowering her voice to barely above a whisper. Derek's weakness is his ego. He can't resist showing off, especially to people he thinks are beneath him. She pulls out her phone and shows me a screenshot of Derek's social media. Look at this post from 3 months ago. It's a photo of Derek at some academic conference, arm around a smiling older man in an expensive suit. The caption reads, amazing conversation with Dr. Marcus Webb from the NSF Grant Review Board. Always learning from the best. #future research #networking wins, So. I ask, though something about the image bothers me. Dr. Webb died 2 years ago. I checked the obituaries. Emma's eyes glitter. Derek posted a fake photo with a dead man to make himself look connected. My blood runs cold. That's insane. That's Derek. But here's the thing, he's gotten sloppy with his digital footprint. Too confident that no one's watching. Emma swipes to another screenshot. This is from a research forum where Derek answered questions about machine learning techniques. Except the answers are word-for-word copied from a paywalled research paper published 6 months earlier. She shows me more evidence, Derek claiming credit for insights in discussion forums that were clearly plagiarized, fake endorsements on his LinkedIn from professors who don't exist, even fabricated conference presentations. It's a pattern of academic dishonesty going back years, Emma continues. But it's all scattered, small stuff that individually means nothing. Until you put it together. Exactly. But we need more than just digital breadcrumbs. Emma's voice takes on a conspiratorial tone. We need to catch him in the act. My phone buzzes again. Another text from Dr. Hendricks, also, Derek suggested you might benefit from reviewing proper citation practices. I can recommend some resources. The condescension burns. Derek's already in Hendricks' ear, painting me as an incompetent student who doesn't understand basic academic standards. They're meeting tomorrow morning, I realize. Derek and Hendricks. Before my appointment. Perfect. Emma's smile turns predatory. That gives us our opening. What do you mean? Derek can't resist embellishing his stories. If he's meeting with Hendricks alone, he's going to oversell his narrative. Make claims he can't back up. Emma pulls out a small device I don't recognize. My girlfriend works in journalism. This is a voice recorder, completely legal as long as one party consents to being recorded. You want me to wear a wire to my meeting with Hendricks? I want you to document everything. Every lie Derek told him, every fabrication, every exaggeration. Emma leans back. But that's just the beginning. She opens her laptop again and navigates to what looks like Derek's university email interface. Another thing my girlfriend taught me, people are terrible at password security. Derek uses the same password for everything, his birth year plus, PhD 2024. How do you know that? He logged into the coffee shop Wi-Fi on my laptop once during our collaboration. Muscle memory. Emma's fingers hover over the keyboard. I never used it because I'm not a criminal. But desperate times. Emma, that's illegal. If we get caught. We won't get caught if we're smart about it. Her voice hardens. Derek destroyed my academic career. He's destroying yours. How many more students is he going to victimize while the system protects him? I think about Jake Chen's disappointed face, about Dr. Reyes questioning my integrity, about the months of stolen work that Derek is probably refining right now for his thesis defense. What exactly are you proposing? Emma's fingers start typing. We're going to give Derek enough rope to hang himself. But we need to move fast, your hearing is in 4 days. The screen fills with Derek's emails, and my heart pounds as I realize we've crossed a line we can't come back from. The emails are a goldmine of Derek's arrogance and stupidity. Look at this, Emma whispers, pointing to a message thread between Derek and someone named Professor Williams at Stanford. He's applying for a postdoc position using your research as his work sample. My stomach drops as I read Derek's proposal. He's not just stealing my thesis, he's already shopping it around to secure his next position. The casual way he describes his innovative methodology makes me want to punch the screen. And this one, Emma clicks on another thread. Derek's been corresponding with 3 different journals, pitching papers based on my research. One editor has already expressed interest in fast-tracking publication. He's building an entire career on stolen work, I breathe. Gets worse. Emma scrolls down to a message from yesterday, after Derek had already accused me of plagiarism to Dr. Reyes. It's to his girlfriend back home, *, thesis defense is going to be a slam dunk. Hendricks loves my work. Should have my PhD wrapped up by spring, then it's off to Stanford. Finally ditching this place and my loser roommate. *. The casual cruelty hits me like a physical blow. While I was crying in my room, Derek was celebrating his victory. Emma's phone suddenly buzzes with an alert. Her face goes white as she checks it. Shit. My girlfriend just sent me a news alert, there's a story about academic fraud investigations at the university. Some reporter is sniffing around. She shows me the notification. If this becomes a media circus before we can get ahead of it, Derek will just blame everything on me, I finish. Paint himself as the victim of a disturbed roommate. Exactly. Emma closes the laptop abruptly. We need to move faster than I thought. My phone rings. Sarah's name flashes on the screen, and I answer immediately. Where are you? She asks without preamble. Derek just showed up at your room with campus security. Says he's worried about his safety and needs to collect some belongings. What? I stand up so fast I knock over my water glass. He can't do that. He's doing it right now. Says he has evidence that you've been accessing his personal files and he's concerned about escalation. Sarah's voice is grim. The security guard looks like he believes every word. Emma and I exchange panicked looks. If Derek finds any trace of our investigation, or if he plants something in my room. Sarah, don't let them touch my computer, I say desperately. There's research on there that. Too late. Derek specifically asked the security guard to secure all electronic devices, for everyone's safety. Says he's worried you might delete evidence before the hearing. The phone almost slips from my suddenly sweaty hands. My laptop contains everything, not just my legitimate research, but also the files Emma shared, my notes about Derek's pattern of theft, everything we've discovered tonight. He played us, Emma says quietly. She's been listening to my side of the conversation, her face growing paler by the second. Derek knew we'd dig into his background. He's been setting this up. Setting what up? Think about it, he accuses you of plagiarism, then suddenly needs to collect belongings from your shared room. With security present to witness him discovering whatever evidence he's about to plant. My knees go weak. He's going to frame me for hacking his accounts. Or worse. Emma's voice is barely audible. What if he plants your stolen research on his devices, then finds it during the security sweep? Makes it look like you broke into his room to steal his work. Sarah's voice crackles through the phone, they're leaving now. Derek has a box of stuff and he's talking to the security guard about filing an incident report. Did you see what he took? Hard to tell from the hallway, but... Sarah pauses. It looked like he was taking things from your desk, not his. The restaurant spins around me. Derek hasn't just stolen my research, he's systematically destroying any chance I have of proving my innocence. Every move we've made tonight has probably been anticipated. Emma, I whisper, I think we're about to be arrested. She's already packing up her laptop, her movements quick and efficient like she's done this before. Not if we get to the Academic Integrity Committee first, she says grimly. But we have maybe 12 hours before Derek springs whatever trap he's setting. How can you be so calm about this? Emma meets my eyes, and for the first time I see real fear there. Because if we don't stop him tonight, we're both finished. The Academic Integrity Committee office is dark when we arrive at 11 p.m., but Emma produces a key card from her wallet. Perks of being a graduate teaching assistant, she whispers, swiping us into the building. I have access to most academic offices for after-hours grading. My hands shake as we navigate the empty hallways. Breaking into Derek's email was one thing, but what we're about to do feels like a point of no return. Emma leads me to Dr. Martinez's office. She's the committee chair and, according to Emma, the one person on campus who actually follows protocol to the letter. Martinez keeps physical files on every case, Emma explains, picking the simple lock on the office door with what looks like a paperclip. If Derek's done this before, there will be a paper trail. Where did you learn to do that? YouTube. My apartment key broke inside the lock last month. She works quietly for another minute before the door clicks open. Plus, my girlfriend covers crime stories. You pick things up. The office is cramped and organized to the point of obsession. Files line the walls in perfect alphabetical order, and Emma immediately starts pulling folders. Academic misconduct cases from the past 3 years, she mutters, spreading papers across Dr. Martinez's desk. If Derek's pattern goes back as far as I think. Emma, this is insane. We're committing actual crimes now. She looks up from a folder marked, Confidential, Academic Review Board. Derek's probably planting evidence in your room right now. Playing by the rules got us nowhere. My phone buzzes with a text from an unknown number, asterisk, stop digging or things get much worse for you. D, asterisk. The blood drains from my face. He knows we're investigating. Emma glances at my phone and swears. He's been tracking us somehow. She starts photographing documents frantically with her phone. But look at this, complaint filed 2 years ago by a student named Marcus Webb. Claims Derek stole his research proposal during a collaboration. I lean over her shoulder to read. Marcus described the exact same pattern, Derek offering collaboration, gaining access to original work, then submitting it as his own when the partnership dissolved. But the case was dismissed due to insufficient evidence. Marcus transferred schools mid-semester, Emma continues, flipping through more documents. No forwarding address, no contact information. Just, disappeared from the program. Derek scared him off. Or worse. Emma's found another file. Jessica Liu filed a complaint 18 months ago. Same story, collaboration gone wrong, stolen research, dismissed case. She also transferred out. The pattern is becoming horrifyingly clear. Derek's been systematically targeting graduate students, stealing their work, then using the academic bureaucracy to silence them. Those who fight back simply leave. There's more, Emma whispers, holding up a document that makes my stomach lurch. Complaint filed 6 months ago by someone named Alex Chen. Jake's younger brother, I breathe. The one who dropped out of the program. The file is thicker than the others. Alex had evidence, timestamps, draft versions, witness statements. He'd built the kind of airtight case we're trying to construct. But stamped across the front page in red ink, investigation suspended, complainant withdrew allegations. Alex had him dead to rights, Emma says, scanning the documents. Why would he withdraw? My phone buzzes again. Another message from Derek, asterisk, ask Alex Chen what happens to students who don't know when to quit. Asterisk. The office suddenly feels suffocating. Derek's not just stealing research, he's been terrorizing students into silence for years. The academic integrity system isn't failing, it's being actively subverted by someone who understands exactly how to manipulate it. We need to call Jake, I say urgently. Find out what really happened to Alex. Emma's already dialing, but her face goes white as she listens to the phone ring endlessly. Voicemail, she whispers. From somewhere in the building, we hear the distinct sound of footsteps echoing through empty hallways. Someone else is in the building. Emma and I freeze, listening to the footsteps getting closer. The rhythm is deliberate, unhurried, like someone who knows exactly where they're going. Security patrol. I whisper. Emma shakes her head, quickly shoving the files back into their folders. Security rounds ended an hour ago. I check the schedule. The footsteps pause directly outside Dr. Martinez's office. Through the frosted glass door, I can see a shadow, tall, familiar silhouette that makes my blood run cold. Derek. Emma grabs my arm, pointing toward a door I hadn't noticed before, a connecting passage between offices. We slip through just as the main door handle rattles. Whoever taught Derek to pick locks did a better job than YouTube. We're now in Professor Hendrick's office, but there's nowhere else to go. The connecting door doesn't lock from this side, and the main hallway exit would put us right in Derek's path. Emma pulls out her phone, frantically texting someone. Through the thin wall, we can hear Derek moving around Dr. Martinez's office. Papers shuffling. Drawers opening. Then, chillingly, the sound of him photographing documents with his phone, the same evidence we'd just discovered. He's documenting everything, Emma breathes in my ear. Making sure those files disappear before anyone else can see them. My phone lights up with another message, asterisk, I know you're in the building. Academic integrity hearing moved to 9 a.m. tomorrow. Hope you prepared your defense. Asterisk. 9 a.m. That's barely 10 hours from now. Emma shows me her phone screen, she's been texting her girlfriend Maya, the journalism student. Asterisk, emergency at campus. Need backup at academic integrity office now. Bring camera. Asterisk. The response comes immediately, asterisk, on my way. 15 minutes. Asterisk. But Derek's footsteps are moving again, heading toward our hiding spot. In 15 minutes, we might be discovered, or worse, Derek might be gone with all the evidence. That's when I notice Professor Hendrick's computer is still on, the screen glowing softly in sleep mode. Emma sees it too and moves toward the desk. What are you doing? I hiss. Hendricks is on the academic integrity committee, she whispers back, jiggling the mouse to wake the screen. If we can access the case management system. That's definitely illegal. So is academic fraud, but Derek's been doing it for years. Her fingers fly over the keyboard. Hendricks never logs out of university systems. Everyone knows it's a security nightmare. The computer opens directly to the academic integrity database. Emma navigates to Derek's record, and what we find makes everything worse. Derek isn't just a repeat offender, he's been filing counter-complaints against every student who's accused him. Each theft victim has a corresponding file painting them as unstable, obsessive, potentially dangerous. Marcus Webb was flagged as having exhibited concerning behavior toward a fellow student. Jessica Liu was described as making increasingly erratic accusations. Alex Chen's file contains a formal recommendation for psychological evaluation. He's been building a pattern, Emma realizes. Making it look like he's the victim of disturbed students who can't handle academic competition. The footsteps in the next room have stopped. Complete silence, which somehow feels more ominous than Derek moving around. Then my phone rings, shockingly loud in the quiet office. Sarah's name flashes on the screen. Don't answer it, Emma warns, but it's too late, the ringtone has already given away our location. Through the connecting door, we hear Derek's voice, cold and clear, "Found you." The door handle turns slowly. Emma grabs the mouse, desperately trying to screenshot Derek's files before he can stop us, but the computer chooses that moment to freeze. Derek steps into the room, no longer bothering to pretend this is coincidence. "You really should have accepted the plagiarism charge," he says calmly. "Would have been so much simpler than all this." Derek's standing in the doorway like he owns the place, blocking our only exit. In the dim light from Professor Hendrick's computer screen, his smile looks predatory. "You know what I love about graduate school," he says conversationally, stepping into the room. "Everyone's so paranoid about their research being stolen that they never think to properly secure their digital footprints." Emma's still frantically clicking the mouse, trying to get the frozen computer to respond. "What's that supposed to mean?" "It means I've been reading your texts for weeks," Derek replies, pulling out his phone. "Amazing what you can do with basic social engineering." "Emma's girlfriend Maya? She's not coming." "Got a text from Emma 20 minutes ago saying the emergency was handled." My stomach drops. "You intercepted her messages. Cloned her phone number." "Maya's probably at home watching Netflix, thinking Emma's safely tucked away studying." Derek moves closer, and I notice he's wearing latex gloves. "No cavalry coming, no dramatic rescue. Just the three of us having a civilized conversation about your future." The computer finally unfreezes, but it's too late. Derek reaches over and calmly powers it down before Emma can say anything. "Here's what's going to happen," he continues, his voice never losing that eerily calm tone. "Tomorrow at 9 a.m., you're going to appear before the Academic Integrity Board. You'll accept responsibility for plagiarizing my work, apologize for the disruption you've caused, and quietly withdraw from the program." "Like hell I will." "You will, because the alternative is much worse." Derek pulls up something on his phone, photos of what looks like my dorm room, but everything's wrong. My desk is covered with printed pages that I've never seen before. "Funny thing about accessing your room while you're out playing detective. Turns out you've been obsessively collecting information about me for months. Screenshots of my social media, printed copies of my emails, even a detailed timeline of my daily schedule." Emma stares at the photos. "You planted evidence." "I documented existing evidence," Derek corrects smoothly. "Evidence that shows an escalating pattern of stalking behavior. The same pattern Marcus Webb exhibited. And Jessica Liu. And Alex Chen." His smile widens. Amazing how history repeats itself. The pieces click into place with horrifying clarity. You didn't just steal their research. You destroyed their credibility so thoroughly that no one would believe them even if they had proof. "Academic misconduct is rarely about the actual misconduct," Derek says, like he's lecturing a particularly slow student. "It's about perception. Narrative. Control of information." He gestures around the office. "Breaking into professors' offices, illegally accessing university databases, conspiracy theories about elaborate research theft, you're exhibiting the exact same concerning behaviors as your predecessors. Except we have the files now," Emma says defiantly. "We saw the complaints against you." Derek laughs, actually laughs. "You mean the files that are going to show signs of tampering when they're forensically examined? The ones that will prove you broke in here specifically to alter evidence?" He pulls out a small device I don't recognize. Portable Wi-Fi hotspot with a very special configuration. "Every digital interaction you've had in this building tonight has been logged and can be edited retroactively." The room feels like it's spinning. Derek hasn't just been stealing research, he's been running an elaborate long-term operation to discredit anyone who gets close to exposing him. "The beautiful thing about academic institutions," he continues, "is that they're more terrified of scandal than they are committed to justice. Easier to quietly remove one disturbed student than investigate a faculty member's pet protege." My phone buzzes. A text from Jake, *, "Can't find Alex. His roommate says he moved out 3 days ago. No forwarding address. *. Derek glances at my screen and smiles. Alex decided a fresh start would be better for his mental health. "Alex didn't just transfer schools," I say, the horrible realization hitting me. "You drove him away completely." Derek's expression doesn't change, but there's something satisfied in his eyes. Alex made his choice. Just like Marcus did when he dropped out to focus on his mental health. Just like Jessica did when she decided academic life wasn't for her. He counts them off on his gloved fingers. All perfectly documented decisions made by students who couldn't handle the pressure. Emma's face has gone pale. "How many people have you done this to?" "Only the ones who forced my hand," Derek replies, as if he's discussing the weather. "Most students never get close enough to be a problem. They do their mediocre work, graduate, and disappear into mediocrity. But occasionally someone shows actual promise." His gaze fixes on me. "Someone whose research is worth appropriating." The casual way he says it makes my skin crawl. "This isn't just academic theft, it's a systematic destruction of people's lives and dreams." "You've been doing this for years," I whisper. "How has no one noticed the pattern?" "Because there is no pattern," Derek says. "Just a series of unrelated incidents involving unstable students who couldn't handle academic pressure. The university has excellent mental health resources, you know. Very understanding when promising young scholars have breakdowns." My phone buzzes again. Another text from Jake, *, "Found something weird. Marcus Webb's thesis advisor doesn't remember him leaving voluntarily. Says he seemed scared in their last meeting but wouldn't say why. *. Derek leans over to read the message, and his smile falters slightly. "Your friend Jake is remarkably persistent. Perhaps too persistent." The threat in his voice is crystal clear. My blood runs cold. "Leave him out of this. That depends entirely on your cooperation tomorrow morning." Derek straightens up, back to his controlled demeanor. 9 a.m. You confess, withdraw quietly, and everyone moves on with their lives. Your friend Jake continues his successful academic career. Emma finishes her degree without any unfortunate complications. And if I don't? Then you'll join the growing list of students who discover that graduate school just wasn't the right fit for their psychological profile. Derek's voice drops lower. Amazing how quickly someone's reputation can be destroyed when the right evidence surfaces. Falsified research, academic dishonesty, concerning behavioral patterns, possible substance abuse issues. Substance abuse? Emma sounds incredulous. Those energy drinks you're always consuming? Adderall has a very similar chemical signature. Easy to confuse the two in a routine drug screening. Derek shrugs. Especially when someone's already exhibiting signs of paranoid behavior. The scope of his manipulation is staggering. Every detail planned, every angle covered. How many students have sat in this exact position, realizing they're trapped in an impossible situation? You can't keep doing this forever, I say, trying to keep my voice steady. Someone will eventually. Will what? Expose me? Derek laughs. I'm 3 months from defending my dissertation. Dr. Martinez thinks I'm brilliant. Hell, she thinks I'm brilliant because I am brilliant enough to steal only the best work. After graduation, I'll move on to a prestigious postdoc, then a faculty position somewhere impressive. Clean slate, sterling recommendations. And you'll do this to more students. Only if necessary. He checks his watch. But that's future Derek's problem. Present Derek just needs to clean up one last loose end. The building creaks around us, settling into late-night silence. Emma grabs my hand, squeezing tight enough that her nails dig into my palm. So what's it going to be? Derek asks. Graceful exit, or total destruction? Your choice. My phone screen lights up with one more message, and this time Derek's composure finally cracks. The message is from Dr. Martinez, asterisk, in my office reviewing irregularities in submission timestamps. Need to see you immediately. Both of you. Asterisk. Derek's face goes completely white. That's impossible. She's not supposed to be here this late. Unless someone called her, I say, my heart hammering. Someone who's been watching this whole thing unfold. Emma's computer suddenly chimes back to life. The screen flickers, then displays a new message, asterisk, audio and video recording complete. Files uploaded to secure server. Nice work, both of you. Asterisk. Derek spins around. What the hell? You're not the only one who knows about social engineering, I say, standing up straighter. Jake didn't text me about Marcus and Alex by accident. He's been coordinating with Dr. Martinez for the past week. The office door opens. Dr. Martinez walks in, followed by Jake, a woman I don't recognize in a security uniform, and, my breath catches, Alex Chen. Hello, Derek, Alex says quietly. Miss me? Derek stumbles backward. You left. You transferred out. I took a leave of absence to work with the university's investigation team, Alex replies. Turns out, when you document everything carefully enough, patterns become visible even when someone tries to hide them. The woman in security uniform steps forward. Derek Morrison, I'm Detective Sarah Liu with the university police. We have some questions about academic fraud, identity theft, and cyberstalking. Jessica's sister, Emma breathes. Detective Liu nods grimly. My sister didn't drop out because she couldn't handle academic pressure. She dropped out because someone made her life hell. Her gaze fixes on Derek. But she kept every threatening message, every fake social media account, every piece of evidence. She's been waiting 3 years for this moment. Dr. Martinez moves to the computer. The files you've been looking at tonight are copies. We've had the originals under forensic analysis for days. The timestamp manipulation, the falsified documents, the planted evidence, all of it leaves digital fingerprints. Derek's composure completely crumbles. You can't prove anything. It's all circumstantial. Jake holds up a small recording device. Actually, we can. Amazing what people confess to when they think they're in control. He grins. Thanks for that detailed explanation of your methods. Very thorough. The phone cloning, the planted evidence in my room, the threats against Emma and Jake, I add, feeling strength return to my voice. All recorded. All evidence. Along with testimony from 4 previous victims who were too scared to speak up alone but found courage in numbers, Dr. Martinez says. Marcus Webb, Jessica Liu, Alex Chen, and Sarah Kim, she was the first one, 5 years ago. You've been stealing research and destroying lives since your sophomore year. Derek looks around wildly, like a trapped animal. This is insane. You're all collaborating to frame me because you're jealous of my success. Your success. Alex laughs bitterly. You mean our success? My research on neural networks, Jessica's work on machine learning algorithms, Marcus's breakthrough on quantum computing applications, none of it was yours. Detective Liu steps closer to Derek. You have the right to remain silent. I'd strongly suggest exercising that right. As they escort Derek from the office, he looks back at me one last time. The mask has completely fallen away, revealing something desperate and hollow underneath. You have no idea what you've just done to your own career. Dr. Martinez shakes her head sadly. Derek, the only career destroyed tonight was yours. And frankly, it's long overdue. The door closes behind them, and suddenly I can breathe again. Emma squeezes my hand. Is it really over? She asks. Jake grins and holds up his phone, showing a news article already being drafted, graduate student exposed in multi-year academic theft ring. It's over, I say, finally believing it. It's really over.